Ча-чин.
А в чё играть как-нибудь придумаем.
Да.
Блядь, нельзя просто список игр дайте. Нахера мне эти вот логические, экшен от третьего, от первого лица, ролевые игры, стратегии, пошаговые стратегии, архивы, блядь, шахматы нахуй. Атом, салют. Есть игры для самых маленьких.
М.
Сборник «Поиграй-ка». Блядь, что за пиздец. Давай, приключения и квесты. Ребята, слитых каток час. Какая-то гранадаль. Секрет острова мартышек. О, Life is Strange есть. Чего? Star Wars Yoda Stories? Васён, привет. Здравствуйте. Всем привет, ребятки. Я тут сижу, я не знаю, в что поиграть. Я сижу и думаю. Есть Детройт. Но, блядь, его скачивать долго надо будет. Почему мы тебя ждем? А чё опаздываешь? Бэтмен The Enemy... Чего, блядь? Первый раз такое слышу вообще. Это кто, это как? А почему так? А где скриншоты? Понял. Там читать до хера надо. Нет, вот точно играть не пойдем. Только игры в заказах. А какие? Я не помню просто, поэтому я забыл. Байты есть. Байты. Гига, килобайты. Зомбоид? Нет. Точно не сегодня. Я пообещал, что сегодня без зомбоида. Там не получится, приключения на 20 минут зашли и вышли. Так, какой-то
А у нас
Firewatch.
никогда там не получалось.
О, Кена есть. О, Кена с озвучкой есть. Русской. Язык озвучки русский. А в смысле русский опционально, блядь, это как? 24 гига. Заебемся устанавливать. Firewatch. Реализация. Я опять не подключил YouTube. В смысле? Он подключен? Бляха-муха. Задолбал меня этот YouTube. Сейчас все пофиксим. Вот, видишь? Глеб, спасибо тебе. Нашел занятие мне. Сейчас подключим YouTube. Чего, блядь?
М?
Я такую херню первый раз в своей жизни вижу.
Чё там?
Для того, чтобы подтвердить свою учетную запись на Гугле, знаешь, что у меня просят сделать?
М?
Ставить в USB-порт ключ безопасности, блядь. Чё нахуй?
Ну, дэм.
Кого, блядь? Давай другие способы проверки. Ага, с функцией Bluetooth. Да, у тебя Bluetooth датчик-то, сука, есть тупая машина, блядь. Вот, давайте нажму «да» на телефоне. Давай. На пару каток в Overwatch. Потом в 4 утра думать, нахера я опять туда пошел. Так я потому что с него вижу трансу. Я нет, так как всегда, только из... все понял. Сейчас все попробуем настроить. Так. Циферки. Циферки делаем глаголы правильные, давай. Разрешить. Копировать. Ставить. Завершить. Еще раз. Давай. Давай без проверок, по-братски. Ты же знаешь, что это я. Кто еще, блядь, может такой хуйней заниматься? Пол 12 ночи. Так, принять. Окей. Так. Тест. Тест. Так. Вроде работает. Так, все, Глеб, я пофиксил YouTube, можешь обратно туда возвращаться. Бррр. Разблокировка путем вставки специального USB модема. Охереть. World, Фактория. Так, ебама рама, что ты нихера себе загибаешь. Никто тебя не выгоняет. Так, короче, по играм. Смотрим, что есть. Где? Вот экран. Брфорс ставить надо. Римворld тоже, по-моему, удален, насколько я помню. Вон, чекайте. Есть Crusader Kings. Есть Fall Guys, кстати, почему нет? Hades. Стрей до сих пор остался, надо удалить его нахуй. Пичит прикольный. Стэнли! Уа! Стэнли! А где Стэнли? Ты видишь Стэнли? Я не вижу Стэнли. И не важно, что я сказал, что он есть. Ну что сегодня? Не знаю. Петь, пойдем в что-нибудь играть? О, может Vampire Survivors? Ясно. Подождите, а для того, чтобы Стэнли проходить, там же джойстик нахер не нужен, да?
Не надо.
Пойдем в Стэнли.
Я не знаю, ты стример.
Я не с тобой разговариваю.
Я не реален.
Не обращайте внимания, это всего лишь моя шоссе. И Стэнли. О! Зачем ты? Стэнли и заорал. О! Блять, почему вы пишете то, что это идеальная и отличная идея? Мне, сука, страшно стало.
Лосенко шепчет репорт сына.
Да что репорт? Там ось недобитый бегает. Нет, ты чё, у меня ж эта херня... блядь, нет. Хантер мы точно не пойдем. Бля, короче, погнали в Стэнли. Сходим в Стэнли. Сходим в Стэнли. Потом можно в Айзека на забег. Так. Некромыш, когда... Вот будет день рогаликов, тогда и в некромыш пойдем. Так. Что, блядь, с монитором, нахуй? Блядь. А разрешение можно пофиксить? Ребят, я чат пока не вижу. Секунду, сейчас все будет. Так. Это вроде пофиксилось. Сейчас чат на место верну. Куда, блядь? Не тот монитор, сука. Блядь, шамарну нахуй. А ведь я опять хотел пораньше лечь. А это вот, блядь, так не работает, если что. Пораньше лечь, нихуя себе. Громкость музыки потише. Это оставить, качество звука высоко, субтитры, ага. Багов нет, все хорошо. Значит, сегодня без рогаликов. Что сегодня? Что тебе не понравилось вот на этот раз, блядь? А я язык на русский поставил или нет? Наверное. Прохождение с окном, оно быстрее кого, блядь? А фраз лодинг ни о чем не говорит. Фраз лодинг ни о чем не говорит. Говорит о том, что все на буржуйском. Сейчас зачекаем. Так, вот чтоб понимали, ни разу я в это не играл. Ни одного прохождения не смотрел. Ну, блядь! Не-не-не-не-не-не-не-не-не-не. Звук. Где? Русский. Сука. Настройки. Звук. Русский. Все, отлично. Достижения дали. Просто, блядь, в игру перезашел, ачивку дали. Мне нравится. Всегда бы за это ачивки давали. Эй! Ты меня за дурака не держи. Расширенные настройки, трилинейно выключить. Ага. Угол обзора похер, это сделано, это хорошо. Звук русский включен, субтитры, давай. Окей, назад, выход. Сейчас перезапустим. 7 часов, в смысле 7 часов? Я думал, она быстрая. Мне почему враки ваши это?
Она вообще не быстрая ни капли.
Серьезно?
Ну, там концовок, мне кажется, штук 20 с хером.
Бля. Почему всегда так?
Ну, про Стэнли, я думал, ты сразу знаешь, потому что она за это и известна.
Нет, я ее чисто случайно где-то получил. И не говорю, ни одного обзора, ни одного прохождения не смотрел. Когда-то туристическую поиграть, которая... Это надо.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Ну рассказывай дальше, что ты замолчал-то, блин? Какого хуя ты на английском рассказываешь? Читать приходится еще, блядь. Есть. Интересно. Управление странное максимально в игре.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Бля, почему так страшно?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Пошел нахуй.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
А, в игре нет русской озвучки? Да, напоминает СЦП. Подожди, я не понял. Вернее, где? Всё, есть чат. Так, нам в комнату отдыха сказали, надо идти, да?
Мгм.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Сука, ты меня бачишь, чтобы я вышел, я останусь здесь специально, блядь, как прыгать?
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings.
Ой, да пошли нахуй эти
Really worth
коллеги.
it.
Вот еще, блядь. Окно открой мне.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with it, but at last he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
Подожди, мы в конференц-зал идем же.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
В этом прикол игры. Тебе говорят делать одно, ты либо это делаешь, либо не делаешь.
А,
Ну и вруби Димонку это буду сразу переводить.
а так у меня субтитры. Ладно, сейчас врублю. Сейчас там вот есть текст, который не переведен. Посмотри. Так, чаты работают, все хорошо. Не прыгать на карго.
Не прыгать с той карго.
Oh, well, look who's got cold feet. Sorry to break it to you, Stanley, but that lift isn't coming back. You'd best either get comfortable right here on this platform, or test your luck by jumping to the floor below. You know what? Looking at it now, it's not that far to the bottom floor. I bet you can make it.
Ты охуел? Где выход, блядь? Меня этот черт вообще не нравится. Пошел нахуй! Нет, no do it. Dur the open, сделай мне, блядь, эй, где мой пропуск? Я тут работаю. Я к маме пришел. Как прыгать? Да я ж разобьюсь нахер.
Да.
Лифт верни мне, эй. Бля, черт какой, а? Я стрим лагает. Перезапусти. Кадры все на месте. Да я не хочу прыгать. Я в коробке ебану.
Мне нравится то, что ты сам ушел с лифта, сам отказался ехать, и ты такой, в смысле, а почему я не могу ехать? В смысле?
Не, а я случайно с лифта ушел. Я думал, что запрыгнуть можно будет. Так, ладно. Мы идем из офиса. Ну как же так случилось, блядь? А я с тобой нахуй не разговариваю. Ты меня, блядь, подставил только что. Я тебе, блядь, больше верить не буду, скотина.
Ты сам не залез.
Он сказал, прыгай, блядь. Что вы мне рассказываете, блядь? Какие логи? Вот сюда? А вот там меня, блядь, трахнут. Нет, я туда не пойду.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't far.
Я знаю, что мне надо на лифт.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you.
Ну, не знаю, что там говорят про лаги, я смотрю
There's
Steam, у
someone
меня
you've
все
been
нормально.
neglecting, Stanley. Someone you for what? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why,
Да, я уверен в
I don't know
этом.
how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side.
Ага, ага,
Give me a chance.
ага.
Now listen carefully, this is important.
Давай.
Stanley walked through the red door.
Пошел нахуй. Блять. Он мне всю систему сломал.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
Ред это же синий, да?
Угу.
Я так подумал.
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked... All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop.
Да-да-да. Ред синий, знаешь, не мотиватор такой поставить.
You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map, because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing, because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Пошел нахуй. Блять.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
Че тебе надо, блядь? 3.
Oh, of course. A 3. Really. Maybe next time we can get you to form an actual opinion, you know? Any level of critical thinking or engagement with your surroundings. Does that sound good? Think we can do that? Yes? Wonderful. Here, based
Мне
on the
нравится,
data
как у него
from your
бомбит.
previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look. Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
Мне кажется, я что...
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Так, что сзади есть?
You heartless bastard.
А,
Did you do it
блядь!
because you hate babies or
Я
purely
проебал.
to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game, just to ease the pain? Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a
Первый
shot.
салют. О!
Well,
Ебать!
Stanley, is this any better? At last, the one thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough? Well, I'll say this. I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house.
Давай, хуярь. Где?
This will go here. No, here. And then...
Это дом, блядь.
Let's see, what does it need? Yes, of course. And just to finish
Вот.
it all off... Yes.
Дай
It's
пройти, блядь.
complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy. Ah, but you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable.
Ну вот теперь, когда ты это сказал, хуй, я туда пойду. Хуйня твой дом, закрой, блядь. Я так понимаю, ничего не произойдет, пока я туда не зайду, да?
Да, скорее всего.
Я мышь.
Бля, слушай, без меня стрим проведешь? Меня просто на рейд в Destiny зовут.
Isn't it
Ой,
perfect?
блядь.
It could only be better if... Wait.
Ну, я там как минимум на
Метки
час попаду.
подчеркивания, шопчик бот. Прости, если что. Науа. Ты...
Я тебя не слышу пока.
Без обид говорю.
Да, окей.
Так
Скоро
теперь
вернусь.
немного по-другому. Хах, пхах, пхах,
там криперы. Ай, блядь. Так, еще раз такая хуйня повторится, будет больно.
Oh my, it looks like it's going to get a bit dark. Have you brought a light?
Да нахуй, вот, есть уголь. Давай добудем. Дай кирку, блядь. Вот уголь есть. А, так
Oh,
это...
no. This is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one. Okay, new game.
Блядь. О, зимний сол. Блядь, надо все главы пройти сначала.
Yes! I don't even know what this game is, but I love it. You,
Дай
trapped in a
пушку.
glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is.
Пушку дай портальную. Хуёвый закос. До свидания.
Oh,
Дай.
it's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte. Genius.
Genius. Пошел в
No,
задницу.
actually, you know what? I think that's plenty. I really don't care much to see you stumble through any more of these games, and I highly doubt.
Вообще похуй. Филинг кабинет. Ага. Так, в воду не падаем. Брать ничего нельзя. Тут тоже какая-то. А чё, а куда идти-то? Видимо, вниз. Ваше здоровье. Качать ассасин старый. Ассасин будет очень сильно душнить. Блять. А в пятишку, сука, я не планировал играть. Блять. Кирпичик, да я тут построил стул себе новый. Так сказать, удобное седалище на четверг. О, там свет. О, кабинет. Все. Блять, я наигрался в твое пяти, иди нахуй.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Хорошо. А? А, длинная игра, блядь, говорили. О, быстро прошли. Блядь. Погнали Far Cry 4 за 20 минут пройдем.
All of
Лосинка
his
шепчет,
co-workers were
иди.
gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Полностью следовать инструкции, сейчас попробуем.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Как? Изи. Ты чё, не знал? Я главный спидранер в Рашке. Так.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Так хочется вниз пойти. Ярко. Нифига, какое тут лакшери. Это что? А, Бэсрум, понял.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
Так.
Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Он же сказал то, что... Блин. Все, накосячил уже. Хорошо. Идем сюда. А не Дзуку? Что-то знакомое очень. Это офигенная аниме-канимка. Так. Ну, пока вроде как-то по сюжету идем. Типа, ну, почти. Надо было просто дослушать его, а не бежать вперед паровоза.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Тут же не будет всяких хорроров и
Stanley
прочего.
walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Как можно идти туда, если тут вот это ёбаный в рот? Ладно.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Да, там высоко. Там высоко.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Ляха. Это печально. «247-й», да? Где? Блядь, не видно. Пусто.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Странно.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
вроде сюда надо идти. Я, блядь, не понимаю, но скорее всего, да. System power
And
off.
when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible...
Кто-то из мурашек.
blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
Погнали Блича первую серию посмотрим, кстати.
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Как обратно вернуться? Блять, ладно.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
И это все в VR-очках. Да. А, игра пройдена, все. 2 раза прошли уже. 2! Изи. Презент, салют. Рубин, в смысле у тебя депрессия в 0 лет? Что случилось у тебя? Кого первую серию? Блича. Перевести оно 10.10. Кстати, да. Ну ты получишь двойной. Кстати, да. Тоже верно. Блич, это... Блич! Из сколько? 20-30? Из всех.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Дверь
When
слева, я
Stanley
помню.
came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. "I'm dreaming!" he yelled. "This is all a dream." Oh, what a relief Stanley felt. to
Аж
have
мурашки
finally
по коже
found an
пошли.
answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He
О,
wasn't going
блядь.
to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Я думаю, сейчас скример будет.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am
Блять,
I? Who am
хватит
I?
нахуй, иди в пизду.
And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Чего?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Чего? Третий раз прошли игру.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the
Мне не
meeting.
нравится, она
Perhaps
все
he had
более
something
жуткой
to
становится
remember.
с каждым разом.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Надо в сервер. Давай, спокойной ночи, тебе спасибо за... Спасибо за компанию. Давай,
Yet there was
сладеньких
not
тебе,
a
отдыхай.
single person here either.
Переволновался
Feeling
просто.
disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
Какую дверь
What did it
тыкать?
mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. Two, 8, 4, 5. Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself. And Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, what did he do?
Так. Что дальше? Сейчас он даже рассказывать ничего не стал.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Глаз задергался.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Как
At
страшно,
this point,
бляха,
Stanley
муха.
was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Ну ладно, смотри, у меня кадры не пропадают, все должно быть нормально. Вот сука! Вот сука! Выпусти, блядь!
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the
Ебать!
future. He doesn't know
Пусти,
the
сука!
story,
Как прыгать?
trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and short
Вниз, 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 вниз.
farewell, Stanley.
Иди нахуй! Как, блядь, спрыгнуть?
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Спасибо, женщина.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
А это что
When
такое?
every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Это типа комната разработчиков? Британский акцент, нифига себе. О, пасьянс. Включись. Офигеть. А зачем это все здесь? Ну. Очень странно. А ну нахер. Так, я опять сюда пришел, не. Я типа подумал, что тут огромная прям локация будет, но что-то она какая-то коротюсенькая на самом деле. Так, тут что у нас? Они типа за стеклами. И они разные все. Офигеть. Так, тут я уже был, да. Экзит.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape.
Да.
There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now, and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time choose.
Ау. Я думал, она спасет нас в этот раз. Она не хочет. Что, реально помер?
This Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a photo? He could no longer recall. When Stanley came to a set of two open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Я не
Perhaps he
понимаю,
wanted to
что
stop by the
происходит.
employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Понимаю. Так, туда мы ходили, давай сюда сходим.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Кстати, Серый, у тебя там как? Со светом-то все в порядке?
Stanley didn't
Нормально
go
все?
back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
Ага, тут, то есть, выбора у меня нету, да? Я направо хочу.
Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see, we went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely...
Давай,
definitely
хорошо. Приятного
this
тебе
way.
просмотра.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Охуел? Я же уже сюда пришел.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Мне стало интересно, что за херня тут происходит.
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Боже мой, это реально хоррор какой-то. Мать, за что ты так?
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Эй!
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Ладно.
Ha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Не-не-не-не-не-не, блядь.
Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Я не понимаю, что происходит.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that? No, I'm down. We're leaving it up to the line from now on.
Сейчас какая-то херня.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what?
Это он совсем ебанулся, или не рисовать.
Is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Как, блядь, понятие?
Wait, cut the music, go back and look at that fern. Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
О, привет.
No, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? After we trusted you. After everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Да ну нахер. Так.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Ну, поехали. Метод.
Yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Nice такие повороты.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine. Ah,
Это
a
что такое?
choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. how important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Вот я всегда на правую дверь ходил. Сейчас вот что он доебался до меня?
Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait, you know. I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination, so I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you do happen to have a...
Что это было, блядь?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Я что-то черт его знает, что здесь происходит.
I realize that investing in your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If...
Алло?
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh,
Пошел нахуй!
Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Ага, хуй тебе.
Sorry,
Блядь!
but you're in my story now.
Ты дурак?
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Я все нахуй жмякаю.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions, and down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Так.
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Я не хочу пойти на работу. Я хочу на выходной. Ну его нахуй. Нет. Сколько нам так сидеть? Я тут сегодня и так нажал кнопку Б, чтобы на работу пойти утром. Ну? Хорош, блядь, пусти меня куда-нибудь, сука, мне, блядь, хочется жить. Дай мне двигаться, блядь. В
You
пизду.
see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that
Ты
he'll
мне не дал
understand that
выбора,
every second he
гондон!
remains here, he's electing to kill himself?
Иди
How can I
нахуй!
get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must.
А,
Perhaps,
ебал.
well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Я что-то нажал.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Блять, мы же это опять еще раз проходим.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ого. А. О! Панду не трожь, сука. Пиздю, блядь. Поехали. Вообще не понял.
The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be all alone? This was too much for Stanley to take. Too much for any man to take. He fell to his knees, bursting into half moans, half sobs, the guttural retching of life from a man denied any hope, any reason to keep going. Here on the floor he lay prone, paralyzed by fear for nearly a full hour. But when at last he began to move about and survey the situation, he found a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could it mean? Was it a sign of hope for Stanley's future? Alas, it was not. For although this keypad guarded the terrible secret of Stanley's past, It had been assigned a 4-digit code so devious and so random that no man could ever hope to guess it. 2845. Statistically, nearly impossible to guess blindly, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Не, ну это мы уже на круг идем, ну его нахуй. Загрузка какая-то. А.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Сейчас, короче, эту пробуем. И все, я наигрался в это Стэнли. Ну?
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
А, тут просто... А. 4. А что 4? Ну, типа, если идти опять туда же, куда шли, ну это же пиздец. Ага, вижу. Погоди. Это 3. Где 1? Четыре наверху. Где я? А я кнопку 4 нажал? Нет. Вот она что усталость с людьми делает. Я потерялся, блядь. А кнопка 5 вот там. Ага. И чё? И смысл вот этого был? Не понимаю. Так, попытка номер 2. Нихуя, короче.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty. Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going.
А
What all
дверь-то
this
закрыта.
means, I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go.
Странный
But I'm
пацан.
sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional
Да-да-да, давай
seconds,
добавляй.
Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones, or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? that this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death.
А,
You're
да?
only still playing instead of watching a
А почему
cutscene.
так?
I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the
спасибо.
clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say happily ever after.
Ярко. Да ну нахер, не, все хорош. Набегался я немного сегодня это. Ага, угу, туда-сюда. Тык-дыки, блядь, делать. Так, что по поводу завтра? Завтра что играем? Есть, может, предложение у кого-нибудь? М? В игру? Хорошо. В принципе, как скажешь. Сингл. Можно сингл, можно онлайн какой-нибудь. Я вон нашел, где Кену взять бесплатно. В города. Это же так весело и увлекательно. Играть в города. Ладно, сейчас пошарюсь еще что-нибудь. Может, найду прикольненькое. Что, давайте на сегодня-то закончим. Время час ночи. Завтра опять на работу. И после работы, если я живой вернусь, тогда что-нибудь запустим поиграть. Если нет, то уже послезавтра. Да. Давайте, ребятушки. Сладеньких снов. Хорошего настроения. И спите по. Всем ББ.